God is bigger than the boogeyman. I don't know what the words are or the monsters on TV. Hey, what's up guys, it's Steph, and today we hear something very, very exciting. It is the VeggieTales BookTag, created by Chapter Kate. I should say Kate over from Chapter Kate, but it went in reverse. You know who she is. She's awesome. Love her videos. So excited that she came up with this blessing of a book tag. My childhood brain brought back to relevancy through BookTube. I love when this happens. So if you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, you probably remember VeggieTales. That weird show where, for some reason, vegetables spoke the message of God and they could move things without arms or hands. How they can lift things without arms still haunts me to this day. But it was a show that existed, and if you ever watched it, you probably enjoyed it because there were some catchy songs. Mostly including Silly Songs with Larry, which is what most of the questions from this tag are based off of. Silly Songs with Larry, the part of the show where Larry sings a silly song. And with that, we're going to jump into some of those silly songs, and some songs that aren't really necessarily Silly Songs with Larry, but still bops nonetheless. First up is Everybody's Got a Water Buffalo, yours is sweet but mine is slow. This one is a book that's everyone loves. Sorry, I have the things written down next to me because I'm unprofessional. The Water Buffalo Song, a book that everyone loves but you haven't read, and for that I'm going with Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is one I feel like BookTube knows by heart. BookTube, like, wasn't the last book of the series come out a little earlier this year, and BookTube flooded to it, and it was all anyone wanted to talk about for a while. Like, this is just a series that I feel like everyone has read, and I barely bought the first book in January, and I haven't opened the pages at all. Yeah. I don't know, I did pick it up because I wanted to know what the hype is all about. I've heard both good things and bad things about the series. I'm interested. I don't really necessarily know what the entire series is about or understand who the characters are or what the series is. I haven't really looked too in-depth into it. I just know that everyone loves it. So I figured, might as well pick it up and try it and see what all the hype is. And if I like it, keep going, because isn't it a complete series now, or is there maybe like a couple books left? I don't know, but with all the books out into the world, it's very tempting to start it. Next up, Oh, Where Is My Hairbrush? A book that you love but you can't seem to find anywhere on BookTube. And for that, I'll be talking about I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. Honestly, BookTube really feels more fiction-y. There isn't really, at least from what I've seen, I haven't found too many non-fiction booktubers out there. And this is a book about the Golden State Killer, which is a serial killer and rapist that tormented the Sacramento area back in the 70s. And this is a book written by Michelle McNamara, who was a really passionate true crime writer. She unfortunately died before the book could be finished and fully published, but her team helped piece together the works that she had already written for it, pieces that she had written previously about this, and they helped finish, connecting her final pieces of what she was going to put in the book. And I have both editions. I have the first hardback, which came out before they caught the Golden State Killer. And then we also have the paperback, which came out after they caught the Golden State Killer. Between these two publications, the Golden State Killer was apprehended and arrested. And it is a very fascinating case if you check it out, how they did end up doing it through, I believe it was something to do with taking DNA from family, the family ancestry trees, and they somehow tied it back to who the killer actually was. And watching it happen live and watching the news coverage of it live was pretty insane. And that same night, Michelle McNamara's husband, Patton Oswalt, comedian you may know him, he was on Seth Meyers, so he talked about that. They were also filming a documentary series for HBO when it happened, so I'm very excited to see how that turns out. And it's just a very well-written book. You can feel the passion Michelle McNamara had for discovering who this was and for going through all the clues and trying to figure out who this was and trying to bring this person to justice. And it's just so freaking good. And I know BookTube is a lot of young adult and new adult and just kind of fiction in general, but please take the time to read this book. Michelle McNamara's writing is absolutely beautiful. I wish she had published more books. I wish she had more time, because my goodness, this is just so beautifully written. A lot of true crime. I feel like it can tend to get very facty and kind of pull you out of it, make you bored, kind of lose track. but Michelle has such a way with writing. It was so beautiful. I never, like, went off track once. I was sucked into this. I've read it in 3 different publication formats. I read the ebook first on Library Loan, I got my hardback, and then I got this one. And it's just such a good book, and it's very good. I highly recommend it if you are a fan of true crime and you want to know more before this HBO documentary series comes out. Next up, we have His Cheeseburger. His Classic Cheeseburger. A book you were really excited for, but you still haven't read. And for that, I'm going with Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. Now, this one, I really wanted it, didn't get it for a while. Went to Barnes & Noble in January. I found a signed copy, and this came out in, like, 2018, like, I think, like, towards the summer-ish. And to find a signed copy in January, like, a good few months after it was already put out, I was very excited. I bought it from Barnes & Noble. I was reading it. I was about 100 pages in, and then my grandma stole it from me. We were at lunch, and I was telling her about it, and she just slowly slid it to her, took my bookmark out, and started reading. So, that was cool. Thanks, Grandma. She gave it back, like, less than a week later. She read it really quick, but after getting it back, I just haven't had the urge to open it back up, because I know it's right at, like, page 100, or right before page 100, but she also told me she didn't really like it, and that kind of, like, bummed me out inside. I don't know. I want to jump back into it, but I don't know. Something's just been holding me back from getting back into it, and I'm really sad because I really want to read it. I think there is a sequel either out or coming out, and this is just a book I was very much anticipating. I was very much interested in what I've read so far, but I haven't finished it yet, and I feel bad. Is Dance of the Cucumber. I would sing this one, but I don't remember all the words, and I don't speak very good Spanish. Je ne parle pas español. So this is a translated book that you enjoyed or you would want to read. And though I don't know where my copy is of it at the moment, I'm going to say The Hypnotist by Lars Kepler. This one is a thriller crime novel centered around this hypnotist who stops his practice of being a hypnotist for reasons you discover throughout the story. There is murder involved. There is, like, a whole, like, thriller plot and trying to figure out why he doesn't practice anymore. And so, there's just so many developments and so many things happening. It was a pretty good book, and I really enjoyed it. I believe it was translated from Swedish, because it was written under 2 authors, and their pen name together is Lars Kepler. And I believe it was Swedish, and it was just really good. I really enjoyed it. It was like 500 some pages, but it was like, it felt like a breeze to get through because it was just so, like, gripping and engaging, and you wanted to know what the hell was going on. It was weird, and I loved it. Next up is If My Lips Ever Leave My Mouth, Fruit and headed south, I'd be so sad. Those aren't the words. They are, but they're mixed up. You know what I mean? I love my lips, and once again, I'm looking at my cheat sheet. A book that you've mentioned in at least five videos, and I don't think any of us are very surprised at what book we're talking about. We're talking about My Baby Be More Chill, closing on Broadway in just a few weeks. I'm very sad about it because I didn't make it to Broadway, but I'm so proud of them. It has nothing to do with the book. It kind of does, but doesn't. I love this book. I love just comparing the comparisons between the book and the musical. I just love what the story has sparked. I love that it introduced me to Ned Vizzini because he is one of my favorite authors, and it just, I'm so excited that I have some more books from him on my TBR that I'm going to be trying to read this month. If not, I'm going to check them out from the library again and get to them next month. There's a new edition of Be More Chill coming out, which will add to my almost all of them that I have. There's only one edition that I don't have until this new one comes out, which is, the new one coming out is actually like the musical playbill cover, and it's going to be on the cover of the book, and there's going to be a foreword by Joe Iconis and Joe Trax, I believe, and I am extremely stoked for that. You know, I'm buying it like as soon as it's up because I don't trust pre-orders anymore. Barnes & Noble screwed me over on my signed copy of the Try Guys book and Tan Francis book. So they took my $40, but I don't get my books. Awesome. But no, I love Be More Chill. I've mentioned it in several videos. I have several videos just dedicated to either the book or the musical itself. So that should tell you that I kind of like this story. I know it's not the best. I have read far better books than Be More Chill, but it holds a special place in my heart, and I love my boy. Next up, we are the pirates who don't do anything. We just stay home and lie around. And if you ask us to do anything, we'll just tell you we don't do anything. The Pirates Don't Do Anything, a book that went differently than you expected. And for that, I'm going with Survive the Night by Danielle Vega. I was so shocked about the direction this book took. I was not expecting that. It blew my mind. It was the whole reason I gave it like a whole star rating higher than what I was originally going to give it. This book, how do I describe this book? There is this underground club that these teens end up going to, and the whole thing is you have to survive the night. No one leaves until like 6 a.m. And then stuff goes down. Can they survive the night? Bump, 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 bump. This book got wild, and I mean wild. It went far differently from what I expected. I was not expecting what happened in this book at all. Very much Atlantis 2 vibes. Take that as you will, like, I was shook. Then we have Oh Barbara Manatee, You Are the One for Me. This is a word book that you adored. I wouldn't necessarily say I adored it, but I did kind of enjoy it, and that's Broken Banana by Ross Asadoran, I believe that's how you pronounce it. This one, it was a Kickstarter that I was going to back. Didn't back it in time, so I bought it on Amazon. This was written by a comedian who broke his banana during coitus, during intercourse. So, yeah, the process of breaking, the process of recovery, and how open-ended his story is, because, you know what, it just kind of happened, and then he's still living his life, you know, there's still stuff he has to do. I enjoyed this book. It was funny. There were funny moments, and yeah, if you're not grossed out by just the description of him breaking his banana while doing it, maybe check it out, because it's kind of funny. Then I'm So Blue, a book that made you emotional, and I'm going with the audiobook I just finished, which is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I don't ever want to stop talking about this book. I want to own a copy of this book so bad. I want to own a physical copy. The audiobook, whoever narrated it, top quality, pay them extra. That was fantastic. My heart, my soul. I almost cried at at least three separate points. Like, key points I can remember. The end, the biggest one I can remember is that end point where the thing happened, like a big thing that had been building up to throughout the entire book, and the results of that came in. I almost bawled in public. It was great. Love that. That book was so beautifully done. It was somehow everything I wanted within a book right now. We had hints of politics. We had LGBTQA+ representation. We had just, it was so good. And the accents of the orator, the narrator. I can speak. I know how to booktube. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. No, it was so good. I want to own that book so bad. It was so good. I loved it. Next up is the Smart Wrap, your book buying weakness. And for this one, I could say a couple things, but I think my biggest one is library editions of books. I absolutely love getting old library editions of books. I don't know what it is, especially if they're hardback. I love owning like old library books. It's just so interesting to think this book has been to so many places. This book has passed through so many hands. So many people either enjoyed this book or didn't like this book. It's lived such a life, and now somehow it gets to stay on my shelves forever. I just really like that. And there's something about the binding too. I really like it. It feels like so much harder to damage old library books, and I just really love that, because sometimes you get those books, especially on hardbacks, where like the cover gets a little dingy, the dust jacket gets a little dingy, and you're just like, why? But it's so much harder to do that for library books. And I just love like the security blanket around it. It's like, yes, you're protected, my child. You're good. The next up is to tag people, and now I don't know who I should tag, because I think Kate tagged a lot of people. Oh boy. I will leave the people I tag on Twitter. I'll leave a link to that tweet below, because I'm trying to think of people who Kate didn't tag in her original video, and I'm drawing a blank because she tagged like 2 tweets full of people at the very least. And I don't want to double tag, but at the same time I kind of want to pressure more people into doing this, because VeggieTales. Womp womp. check out the link down below for who is tagged, and then once I figure it all out, I will put actual channels down below. Hopefully that will be fairly quickly, and I won't leave you guys hanging, and all that fun jazz. And there you go, that was my version of the VeggieTales book tag created by Chapter Kate, and I absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for the tag, that was so fun. I love VeggieTales. I want to go back and rewatch all of them. Especially Larry Boy. I freaking loved Larry Boy movies. Did you guys watch those? I mean, hell yes, let me know down in the comments. And that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you have a lovely day / night, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.